Hi, this is Dan Joseph of the China Learning Curve. Is it time to abandon China? This is the fourth of our four-part blog series analyzing this question. This post focuses on the political environment in China and whether political risk is growing. Foreigners tend to think that there is absolutely no room for freedom of expression or criticism of the government in China. There was a time, mostly during the latter half of the 2000s, when that perception was largely a misperception. A Chinese person couldn't call for the ouster of the government or a specific government official, but otherwise, discussion of many issues, including economic and social policy, was fairly open, particularly on the internet via blogs and microblogs. That has changed. Many argue the change began in 2009 under the previous leadership. Certainly since the current leadership took office in 2012, there's been a considerable transformation in the political atmosphere. Tolerance of criticism is way down. Debate is more limited. Rules for blogging and microblogging are stricter. Accounts have been closed. Access to key foreign websites like social media platforms has been restricted. More recently, the government announced it will no longer tolerate VPN service in China. VPNs, virtual private networks, are used in China to get around the restrictions that limit access to overseas websites. The vast majority of Chinese don't use VPNs. VPN usage tends to be restricted to more sophisticated computer users. Still, the government recently took actions to disrupt VPN service and has said it will continue to do so. China might have to face the possibility that its internet restrictions will hinder economic growth and other aspects of development. After the recent VPN disruptions, Chinese citizens from business, science, academia, the arts, and other spheres all expressed the opinion that the new restrictions will greatly hinder their ability to engage in international cooperation. And the European Chamber of Commerce actually issued a statement saying that its members will be much less interested in setting up R&D facilities in China if connectivity with the rest of the world will be limited. China actually has a history of removing restrictions only when it has to do so in order to protect economic development. Now, in the past, most of those restrictions were either economic or social in nature. In this case, the restrictions are more specifically political. But if the political restrictions impact other priorities like growth and technology, well, maybe China will be forced to reconsider its internet policy. Time will tell. The next point to be made relates to the connection between economic and political development. With a per capita GDP of roughly 1/5 of the United States and roughly 50% of its population still living as subsistence farmers, China is still in the early stages of development. At this stage, economic liberalization is still the priority over political liberalization. Continued economic liberalization will not only lead to prosperity in China, it will produce the cultural changes, particularly as relates to the rule of law, which support eventual democratization. If China continues to liberalize economically, it will end up like Taiwan, Singapore, South Korea, all of which pursued economic liberalization before political liberalization, and all of which became prosperous societies with a rule of law-based democratic government. So whether your interest is China's economic development, political development, or both, the key factor at this point is economic liberalization. If China backs away from the free market, then the country will be in serious trouble, economically, politically, and in all other ways. Lastly, it should be said that the new political environment is unlikely to lead to broad societal resistance. Most China observers would agree that communism, as an idea or principle, is dead in China. But at the same time, unlike Hong Kong, China has not developed enough such that there is broad societal thirst for democratic rights and principles. More than anything else, the Chinese want a better life and are fairly convinced that their recent rise from poverty is a result of moving toward the free market. They want the prosperity to continue. They're pretty sure a liberalization has to continue as well, and they want their government to be more honest, less wasteful, and more effective, like citizens of every other country in the world. Given these parameters, it is likely that China will continue to be ruled by a single-party government for the foreseeable future. Considering that the Communist Party already occupies that position, it seems unlikely any other organization will unseat the party in the near future. If there is any political maneuvering, and there might be, it is more likely to occur within the party, as opposed to involving the removal of the party from power. In conclusion, I certainly wouldn't say that the political clampdown is a positive development for China. It isn't. Rather, I would say that as long as China continues to make progress in other areas, the impact on China will not be overwhelming. And there's always the possibility that some of the restrictions won't hold for long. That would be welcome news.